So we are continuing the sessions from therapeutic guidelines, and today we are at page number 233 for medical emergencies in dental practice. Now, therapeutic guidelines, this is continuation or of the medically compromised, which we had studied.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
can't see
Oh,
yeah, I can only see your documents. Yeah.
okay. You are seeing the big list, but not the actual document.
Okay, yeah. Now, okay.
Now, potential medical emergencies, they range from transient problems that resolve spontaneously. For example, syncope, it is something which can spontaneously resolve, just uh, raise, below the chair, make the patient recline and give him uh, support. It is, the patient gets fine. So it is transient. To serious emergencies that require transfer of the patient to the hospital, like we have severe asthma attack. To life-threatening emergencies that require on-site resuscitation, example, cardiac arrest. So this would need CPR. Now, medications have the potential to cause adverse effects, some of which are life-threatening. For example, we know anaphylaxis. Now, medical emergencies in dental practice can be minimized by careful assessment of the patient, and this includes obtaining a detailed medical and medication history. So it is much more important to have a detailed medical history before going blind and treating any patient. When emergencies occur, prompt diagnosis and management improve the outcomes. Dentists and staff have a professional obligation to maintain competency in emergency management and basic life support. So it is our obligation that we should be competent enough in managing it and BLS certified. Okay? So we cannot be cutting a sorry figure that we don't know how to manage medical emergencies. Then dentists, okay, this is a professional application part, and if dental assistants have not been through a formal training program, they should have at least basic level first aid certificate. Then dentists must ensure that their practice has an established medical emergency plan, which considers the usual emergency services response time. Prominently displays the emergency phone number. So this is they should have displayed on their walls 000 number, and prominently displays the nearest medical facility phone number. So in case the dentist is not around and has taken a short break for lunch or anything, and there is an emergency happened inside the clinic, the other members should have these numbers handy at the walls, at the counters, wherever possible. The level of staff training and emergency drugs and equipment required by the dental practice are determined by the patient population, the practice type, and the emergency services response time. The longer the time before assistance can reasonably be expected to arrive, greater the need for staff training and equipment. So if medical services will take time, if the location is such that it would take time, so more competence, more expectation is out of the staff who is present there to manage this emergency. What are the drugs and equipment for medical emergencies? Drugs and equipment that may be used for management of the medical emergencies occurring in dental practice include oxygen. It is the simplest and the safest way of administering oxygen to a patient who is breathing via a mask, supplemented with oxygen at 6 to 8 liter per minute. So that our oxygen cylinders are always the first thing in any emergency trolley. And then, or nasal prongs, it can be mask or nasal prongs which deliver oxygen at 2 liters per minute. For patient who is not breathing, use a bag, ambient bag, valve mask, or start mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Then we have disposable plastic airways to secure the oral airway and facilitate mouth-to-mouth resuscitation or ventilation with oxygen. So this is again kept in emergency trolleys usually everywhere. Then the next drug which should be there is epinephrine, adrenaline. So say anaphylaxis shock, which happens. This is an important drug. For management of anaphylaxis in sufficient quantity to give 2 doses. Adrenaline or epinephrine is available in preloaded auto-injectors and ampules. A preloaded auto-injector is preferred since an ampule requires dose calculation and has to be drawn up into a syringe. And we have pulse oximeter for measuring arterial oxygen saturation. It's must when we are dealing with sedation. If we are giving sedation in the practice, pulse oximeter is a must. The glucose for management of hypoglycemia, that is hypoglycemic shock or hypoglycemia, as either readily available glucose containing food, it's easier to have fruit juice or honey, which is readily open to drink, or pure glucose like gel or tablets. Then GTN spray. It is for management of angina or acute coronary syndrome. GTN spray has a longer shelf life than tablets. Then we have short-acting bronchodilator, salbutamol, and spacer for management of the acute asthma attack. Aspirin for management of a suspected acute myocardial infarction. And then blood pressure monitor for the assessment of patients with cardiovascular symptoms and collapsed patients. Then we have blood glucose monitor for the assessment of patients with diabetes. Automated external defibrillator for the management of cardiac arrest. Regularly check drugs and equipment and replace expired or damaged items. So this is what all materials and drugs and equipments you should be having in the emergency trolley. Then we have basic life support chart. Use the BLS flow, and it is very important to remember this because they can give that sequencing and you have to choose the correct answer. So the mnemonic for it is doctors ABCD, DRS, ABCD. D stands for danger. So you check there shouldn't be any danger. That means if a patient has fallen down from a dental chair, your sharp instruments and everything should be aside. So there shouldn't be any obvious danger in the surrounding vicinity of the patient. Patient is responsive or not. You have to shout a patient name, verbally shout, tap on the shoulders and check for response. So this is checking for responsiveness, then send for help. Before you do anything, you would, while you are still checking and everything, you will ask your assistant or anybody present there, patient party or anybody who's the nearest to send for help, like call 000 and ask that patient is responsive or unresponsive. And there is a medical emergency at this particular address. So this is send for help. Then open airway. Check for if the airway is open or if any thing foreign obstructing present, which is not allowing the breathing or mouth to mouth if it needs to be done. Then we have breathing. Check for if the patient is breathing or not. Look, listen, feel. Look at the chest movement up and down. Listen to the breath sounds and feel for air on your cheek. You would just go near the patient, near his nose, and look for normal breathing. Then is CPR. You are directly starting with chest compressions, which should be 30 compressions and then 2 breaths. So first you start with chest compressions and then give 2 breaths. So it is CPR, and then attach defibrillator. So till the defibrillator arrives, either it should be at your practice or ambulance has arrived. Then transfer the patient to hand over the patient. Continue CPR until responsiveness or normal breathing return. Then we have, okay, this part is usually tested. It's a OSCE station in your part 2. That complete CPR, there would be a scenario given, but nothing can stop them from asking any particular sequence or any particular framing for in part 1 exam also. But demonstrating it as it is a OSCE station, technical OSCE to be performed in part 2. Then we have allergies. Allergies can occur to drugs, food, insect bites, or environmental substances. The patients may have multiple allergens or have allergic response to something they have been previously exposed to without incident. After exposure to an allergen, the onset of an allergic reaction can be immediate or delayed. Always check for a history of allergy before starting dental treatment. Instruct the patient with a known anaphylactic allergy to bring their adrenaline or epinephrine autoinjector when attending for dental treatment. Although they occur rarely, most common allergies encountered in dental practice are to antimicrobials, local anesthetics, and latex. Document any suspected allergic reaction and consider referring the patient for confirmation of allergy. What are the common allergies in the dental practice? The first you should think of is the latex or rubber gloves or rubber dam. They commonly present as delayed hypersensitivity contact dermatitis. It doesn't produce anaphylaxis kind of a thing per se. It will take some hours or days after the exposure. This is usually associated with allergy to rubber components other than latex protein. However, if contact dermatitis occurs in areas exposed to rubber materials following dental treatment, consider the possibility of latex allergy. So we have a difference in allergies. First is to rubber gloves or rubber dam, and allergy to latex per se is a different variant. Latex is basically the protein part of the rubber. Okay. So there are two separate means just the variation of the two. Now, latex allergy is rare, usually presents as localized contact urticaria or dermatitis, and it starts minutes to hours after exposure. For management of urticaria, we would see further. Occasionally, allergy to latex can cause anaphylaxis. And if a patient, dentist, or staff member reports immediate hypersensitivity to latex, refer them for medical assessment. And in patients with a confirmed latex allergy, perform dental treatment in a latex-free environment. So you have to, they give us confusing scenarios that the patient says that he's allergic to rubber or latex or anything. And yeah, please don't use gloves or please don't use rubber dam. So you would have to choose that. You would educate and counsel the patient and use non-latex or latex-free rubber dams and gloves. Allergy to acrylates. Now this is, acrylates are usually used in denture materials, okay? So they usually present as contact dermatitis. Acrylates and methacrylates, which it can be methyl methacrylate, hydroxymethacrylate, are plastic materials that are widely used in dentistry, like dental bonding agents and materials in dentures. Acrylate contact allergy is more common in people who are frequently exposed, such as dental personnel, and may occur despite the use of protective gloves. I have personally allergy to this resins which are used in the denture making. So now I don't do the lab work personally, but when we were using this self-cure acrylics and that powder liquid playing and or hard in the BDS days when we were making dentures. So my hand used to get that complete vesicles. So it's a very bad allergy. So this happens and a lot of dentists have this allergy. Then for management of contact dermatitis, refer these patients to medical practitioner. Then we have urticaria and angioedema. Urticaria it is characterized by transient erythematous lesions that vary in size. They are often filled with fluid. Urticaria lesions persist for a few minutes to 24 hours and then tend to be itchy. Acute angioedema, which is edema of the subcutaneous tissue, can coexist with urticaria. So basically, urticaria is that itchiness, the red lesions, and angioedema is the fluid collection below the subcutaneous layer. Angioedema can be painful or cause a burning sensation, but the lesions are usually not itchy. They can occur anywhere on the body, but often affect the face, periorbital region, lips, tongue, glottis, torso, feet and hands, genitals. Angioedema usually resolves over several hours to days. Then we have acute urticaria or angioedema may be associated with anaphylaxis. If laryngeal swelling occurs or there are signs of anaphylaxis, bronchospasm, upper airway obstruction, and hypotension, treat as anaphylaxis. Then we have considered drug causation, particularly in cases of acute reactions. However, delayed drug-associated reactions can occur after more than one dose of drug. Onset may be days after starting the drug, and urticaria may not immediately resolve when the drug is stopped. Then we have occasionally urticaria can be caused by contact with a substance, which is contact urticaria. And this, we will not use that. We'll try to avoid the contact with the cause, which is, for example, latex rubber gloves in the future. And then we would see the management of urticaria and angioedema. So this is a typical hypersensitivity reaction. For mild one, you will stop the dental treatment, remove or stop administration of the allergen, whatever was the causative agent, just remove it, and recommend oral antihistamine. For extensive urticaria or angioedema, or swelling involving eyelids, lips, or tongue, you will stop the dental treatment, remove and stop the administration of allergen, and refer for urgent medical attention. Systemic corticosteroids may be needed because inflammation is spreading enough and sudden arrest by giving steroids would be needed. Then for urticaria or angioedema associated with hypotension and evidence of anaphylaxis. Now here, anaphylaxis can choke a person to death. That respiratory vessel means that contraction happens and the laryngeal swelling happen, which breathing can get compromised. So here, stop the dental treatment, remove and stop administration of allergen, call 000 and give IV intramuscular, sorry, it is intramuscular injection of adrenaline or epinephrine. Now we have typical anaphylaxis. It's a severe, immediate type generalized hypersensitivity reaction affecting multiple organ systems, It has a rapid onset and can be fatal. So, suppose the patient is having that peanuts, suddenly the patient's face will start swelling, and the suddenly, or the prawns allergy anaphylaxis, it happens within matter of minutes in the uh, while the patient is eating, then only in 5 to 7 minutes it can start happening. It is characterized at its most severe by bronchospasm, upper airway obstruction, and hypotension. Severe GIT symptoms may also occur. Anaphylaxis can occur within minutes of parenteral or mucosal exposure to a drug, and approximately 30 minutes to hours after drug ingestion also. So instruct patients with a history of anaphylaxis to bring their adrenaline auto-injector when attending for dental treatment. So you have to take history, and in the history, if you find that patient has had anaphylactic reaction before, they should bring their auto-injectors. It's easy to inject with their own devices, which they have been using. Then we have box 31, which outlines the management of the patients with anaphylaxis. Here, again, stop the dental treatment, remove or stop administration of allergen, lie the patient flat, and give IM injection of adrenaline. So emergency trolley IM injection of adrenaline is must. Adrenaline intramuscularly via preloaded auto-injector into anterolateral thigh. Adult or child more than 20 kg, you would need 300 micrograms. In a child 10 to 20 kg, 150 micrograms. Or you can, if you do not have the auto-injectors, auto-injectors are already having this preloaded, 300 microgram one and 150 microgram one. You just have to puncture into the anterior lateral part of the thigh. But if you are not having this auto-injectors, then you would use the regular adrenaline carpool and give it. So it would be 10 micrograms per kg up to 500 micrograms, which is 0.5 ml of 1:1000 solution. Okay, and this should be given intramuscularly, again, anterolateral aspect of thigh. It is good to have commercial auto injectors. Then call 000. After giving the injection, you are calling 000. Always remember the sequence in this emergency cases. So it can get very confusing that you will call for help before starting CPR in the previous version. Here you will first inject the drug and then call 000. And the patient must be taken to emergency department. Start supplemental oxygen, airway support if needed. Be prepared to start CPR. Repeat adrenaline every 5 minutes until the patient responds or assistance arrives. Follow up. Update records with details about suspected allergen and the patient's response. And request a copy of medical report of the allergic reaction. So see the mild change, but it can change the answer and your sequence a lot. In this case, suppose I give you, if you would not have paid attention or you do not remember the sequence, it can get confusing. The first option, you can choose what you would do first. You may write call 000, which is a wrong answer. Here you are actually the first treatment according to after lying the patient flat, of course, you are giving injection first and then calling 000 and then starting supplemental oxygen and airway support. So sometimes you get confused. I would first put oxygen. We find that that is the lifeline drug. In the established case of anaphylaxis, giving adrenaline injector is the first line. Then we have cardiovascular emergencies. Syncope. Now, syncope, it's an acute hypotensive episode resulting in transient global cerebral hypoperfusion. That means less blood flow to the brain, transient. It is present only for a while. Hypoperfusion, less perfusion to the brain, and loss of consciousness. which usually leads to loss of postural tone and falling. The patient is not able to control and support his motor reflexes and falls down. Brief periods of twitching or convulsive movement can sometimes accompany syncope, but should not be confused with epilepsy. So patient may have a twitches, but it's not epileptic attack. Secondary injury due to fall can result in significant harm. The onset is almost always rapid. Recovery is usually rapid too, spontaneous and complete. Pre-syncope is a condition in which the patient feels as though syncope is imminent. Like they will give you signals. They will say that it's lightheaded. They would turn pale. That's an obvious sign which you can see. Okay, symptoms we are talking, it would be what would patient experience? Lightheadedness, nausea, anxiety, pallor, which is you would be able to see paleness of the patient, sweating, and tinnitus. Syncopal episodes are common at all ages. Important causes of syncope include neurally mediated syndromes, vasovagal syncope, volume depletion, and heart arrhythmias. Common causes of syncope in dental practice are vasovagal, can occur either as a reaction to pain or to anxiety and fear before, during, or after dental procedure. And then we have orthostatic hypotension. It can occur when standing up, after sitting or lying down for an extended period of time in the dental chair. For management of the patients with syncope, what is the sequence again? If the patient faint, stop dental treatment. If the patient is in dental chair, tilt the chair back to horizontal position, make it completely recline. If the patient is not in dental chair, ask the patient to lie down wherever there is even if it is a floor or a sofa or whatever, patient has to be horizontal. The seated position is not adequate for patients with syncope. The blood has to perfuse to the brain, and that is your rationale for doing this. Raise the patient legs, again, the same logic. The blood has to flow to head. Measure the patient's heart. You would check for the pulse, assess consciousness by talking to the patient. You will, talk to the patient. How are you, Mr. Ching? Like try to elicit responses from them. Don't let them go into sleepy mode, and they should be able to communicate, channelize outflow of their energy. If the patient loses consciousness, stop dental treatment. Raise legs and try to achieve position where the head is lower than heart. It is more than horizontal. Now head is lower than heart. If the patient is in dental chair, tilt the chair back to a horizontal position and measure patient's blood pressure and heart rate. Consciousness usually returns rapidly. Allow patients to recover slowly under supervision. Do not discharge them prematurely from care. So you have stopped the treatment for that day. You will not resume the treatment even if the patient comes back to normal health for that day. And the patient should always be escorted by somebody. If the patient was not accompanied by somebody, you would call the patient party and then only relieve the patient. Means discharge the patients from your OPD. Particularly if they are driving. So if possible, check standing blood pressure. Check the patient can stand unassisted without recurrence of symptoms. Consider referring for medical evaluation if patient is elderly, recovers slowly, or has repeated episodes of syncope without obvious triggers. If the patient does not regain consciousness, consider other causes. Syncope is the one which gets fine usually by reclining the chair, by increasing blood flow to the brain. If do not, call 000, start basic life support, place the patient on their side, and maintain treatment until the patient regains consciousness or assistance arrives. So they would not give you the patient is going into syncope. They would not give you the patient is directly going into cardiac arrest. They would create a scenario where you have to diagnose, okay, this could be the case of anaphylaxis. History will tell you the patient was having peanuts sitting in your reception area. Straightforward indications towards anaphylaxis case. If the patient, you just injected a patient LA, you were turning to other side, trying to gathering your equipments and instruments for extraction. So there is a fear stimulus, anxiety stimulus. This would be a case of syncope. Then we have, which one I mentioned? Anaphylaxis, some history of drug allergy or some history of food allergy. The syncope would be, okay, out of anxiety. And the CPR one, the cardiac arrest one, the patient would not be responsive. So CPR is when checked for responsiveness, DRS. So there the patient will not be responsive. Here in syncope, when you call the patient, would be responsive. They would be, whatever the situation is, they would be opening their eyes and mildly, responding. So this is how you analyze and tailor make your sequence of a response. Okay, so in management of syncope, you won't cause 000 in the beginning. Your first is to lie the patient, recline the chair and stop dental treatment. In the dental chair, recline the chair, raise the legs. So your treatment, if you choose here answer as called 000, wrong. Okay, so tailor make the sequence in the 3 medical emergency scenarios so far. We will do the coronary ischemic syndromes and further ones in the next session. Is it fine?
Yes, ma'am.